we need radical reductions. We need 10% per annum, she's looking for now. So if I had my way, if there was a one-world dictatorship where we could make that level of ambition and deliver it, then I'd be very happy.
When you think about it, all law, all legislation is about the restriction of freedom. That's exactly what we're doing here, is we are restricting freedom, but we're doing it for the common good. You will see throughout our Constitution, yes, you have rights, but they are restricted for the common good. Everything needs to be balanced. And if your views on other people's identities go to make their lives unsafe, insecure, and cause them such deep discomfort that they cannot live in peace, then I believe that it is our job as legislators to restrict those freedoms for the common.
They'll be called if you'll have your way.
No,
they won't.
They won't.
Well, I can tell you they will.
What's up? This has been a fantastic week for our side, guys. You know that if you've been following this channel for a very long time, that I have a particular distaste for the Green Party and its members. Quite honestly, I think it's a cult. I think it's a dangerous one at that. I think they're extremists, and I think they should be apprehended and either carted off to the nearest mental institution or incarcerated forevermore. These are people that should be nowhere near the buttons of power. They are wild individuals and extremists as far as I'm concerned. As you've seen there at the beginning of this video, you have Eamon Ryan, who was thinking about a one world government. A weird statement to be making, and also let you know that these people don't think authoritarianism is any sort of problem. They like to call other people fascists, but really it's these individuals that are actually acting as fascists. You also saw there an image and indeed video of Pippa Hackett, who doesn't really mind if you were to go cold. Again, extremism to the height. It's unbelievable. You also then have Hazel Chu, who was talking about the climate agenda. Okay, and that's how she talks. So anybody that wants to come at me sideways and say, hey, that's not how she talks, listen to how that woman, alleged woman, talks and come back to me. If you have an issue with that, go out and have a look at Micheál Martin when he impersonated Asian people. So if he can do it, I can certainly do it. Bear in mind though, this is the Green Party who have been pushing for your tongue to be seized. They have been pushing for hate speech legislation. They have been pushing for hate crime nonsense. They have also not wanted to talk about any sort of planes flying in the sky and drawing lines across them, which is affecting the weather. These are things that have been banned in the United States of America, in states there, and also have been absolutely sounded out by Dubai as to why they had floods recently. If you don't believe me, look it up. So what we have here is an article from the Irish Independent. Now, just before we jump into this, because these people are very silly individuals, Pippa Hackett is also on record. After the Journal reported, last night I got a taxi home from town and the taxi driver refused to take me into my house in a halting site, said Eileen Flynn. Now, she's in the Shannon, and I can be quite honest with you, I spoke much more clearly than Eileen Flynn ever will. So Pippa Hackett responded to that and she says, I recognise my privilege and I recognise that I won't ever experience the hurt and racial discrimination, which is absurd actually, to be quite honest with you, because to me, travellers are Irish and they're white. So how are they a different race? It's insane. Then my Shannon colleague Love One Solidarity. Solidarity is a word that these people use, by the way. It's a buzzword in how they find each other online. I've no doubts about that. Felt the other night, we must all do a lot better. So this is one of the goofballs that these people are pushing forward as leader of the Green Party. Now, I have to be honest with you guys, as we scroll through this, I am chomping at the bit. I actually hope Hazel Chu becomes the leader of the Green Party, because it's going to be so much content. It's going to be unbelievable. That woman lost 50% of the people she got in the previous election. So she halved her voter base since the last time. That's great. That's good news. Now, I think a goofball getting back into a position like that is an issue, but I do think them losing 50% of their voters is phenomenal. So what are the Irish Independent saying? Green Party leadership, supporters of Offaly farmer Pippa Hackett forced out of the traps. So what do you think about them supporting Pippa Hackett? Pretty interesting that, isn't it? And here we go, guys. Children's Minister and gay man Rodri O'Gorman forced to declare his candidacy. This is another one. To be honest with you, right? I'm going to say this out straight. which is ironic considering Rodri O'Gorman. But anyway, I hope he becomes leader, and I hope he makes Hazel Chew deputy leader. It's going to be so easy. These people will not get any votes anymore. It's something that the old boy likes to talk about quite frequently, is like the next election you just want to see the Greens totally gone. And I think that that's what's hastened up Eamon Ryan's move here. Odysee and Smith. Now, a lot of people say online that you should Google Odysee and Smith and Son and put that into Google. Now, when I say Son, it's S-O-N. I don't know what that's about. Obviously, you know, I'm not really telling you what I think there. But what I say is, a lot of people are saying that if you Google that, it throws up some interesting results. Now, I don't know. You know, I'm only saying that's what I'm reporting what other people are saying. He ruled himself out of leadership race. Probably a good idea. But that's the guy that's been a driving force as well behind hate crime legislation and hate speech legislation. And I think he was one of the other fools that came out and said, we should have this deposit retention scheme, which is really hoping that you don't go back and get the money for the cans that you have paid for. So your own money, they're looking to take more of that. This is what the Greens are all about. Just more theft of your finances is what they are standing for, in my view. And endorses Junior Minister Pippa Hackett, but would like to be deputy. So he's like, yeah, you go ahead there and be the leader, but I'll be deputy. You know, nice little earner for me. And these people don't know what's coming. They really don't know what type of spotlight's going to be shone on them at all. And these people are greedy. They're hungry for money. They don't care. Like a lot of these Green Party people, when you look at them, they're not fit people. They're not well-able individuals. They're not strong individuals. They're all weaklings. These are all dweebs they are in this party. These are people that you wouldn't speak to when you were growing up. These are very odd individuals. I don't know anybody, by the way, as an aside, who has ever voted for the Green Party. And I ask everybody that. Green Party Senator Pauline O'Reilly also endorses Pippa Hackett. This is a woman, Pauline O'Reilly, who was talking about limiting your rights. There's a very infamous video going around, and it's crazy to see that these people that are standing up and are advocating for the limiting of your rights, freedoms and civil liberties, but meanwhile at the same time are telling people from all over the world that they can come on into this country. Did you know that Rodri O'Gorman put out, 8 or 9 tweets there in different languages asking people to come to Ireland? Did you know that? Because that actually happened. Minister of State Joe O'Brien said that he was going over the possibility of running. So, you know, you'll be told what you want to do there now, Joe. That's what's going to happen, because these people are just going to be goofball central. So what you have here is Eamon Ryan and you have Catherine Martin there. And I have to be honest with you, these politicians think that when they speak to the media and they say things like they do, they think that people are going to feel sorry for them. But I actually delight in when these people are telling you what's truly on their mind. Now, when I say truly on their mind, I'll break this down as we're moving on. The Green Party has been thrown into chaos as its senior leaders abandoned the party just over a week after they received a drubbing in the local and European elections. You know, a lot of people reported from the Count Centre that Eamon Ryan was particularly dismayed at what was going on. So this guy is seeing the writing on the wall. Now he's making the move off there. So what has just happened is Leo Varadkar has moved on, Eamon Ryan has moved on, and I think it's going to be quite quick as a turnaround between Mary Lou stepping down and Micheál Martin stepping down. Now, why do I think that? I think that because he was pulling their strings from up above, wants the pawns to be replaced. You know, I think they've seen a little bit of bounce back, to be honest, when it comes to Simon Harris. Now, a goofy as much as he is, the focus is not on Leo Varadkar anymore. Do you know what I'm saying? And the same thing I think has happened here with Eamon Ryan. A lot of people don't like him. A lot of people think he's a goofy. This is a party full of goofies. But they're just trying to switch up the face they are. This is all this is about. This is recasting actors in this. And again, they're not attractive actors, as you know. So that's exactly what I think will happen also with Sinn Féin. I think it'll also happen with Fianna Fáil. And these people, all they do is they just usually step back into the shadows. Now, Eamon Ryan has taken a particular interesting situation here and has decided not to stand again. I'm actually disappointed to see that, because I was hoping that that man would be ousted as a TD. I think it's disappointing that we are not going to see that, because I would have loved to see the dejection on his face. This is a guy that has stood over things over the last couple of years, like taking your rights, civil liberties and freedoms away, and was talking about growing salads out the back garden. This is a guy that's telling you all about how you should recycle and reduce and reuse, yet is driving a diesel car, was he not? This is a guy that will fly across to China instead of doing Zoom meetings, but tell you that the climate is something that you should totally worry about. You know, we live in an age now where the internet is possible, and these people have just been exposed as pure frauds. Why are we listening to them? Why are they getting any sort of money? You know what I'm saying? Like, these people are just there. He has 8 advisors, by the way, and still comes out and says stupid things. Like, it's incredible, that, isn't it? In a day of high political drama yesterday, Eamon Ryan and Gettr Martin both announced that they would be stepping down as the party scrambled to find a new leader ahead of the general election. The most likely successors are believed to be Children's Minister Rodri O'Gorman. Yes! I hope he gets it. I hope you get in. Because what's going to happen from here on out is people are going to highlight what you've been up to. And a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people aren't aware of what went on with Tuesday. A lot of people aren't aware what's going on with the files with regards to them. They don't know. So I hope this happens. This will be absolutely phenomenal, you know what I mean? It's just going to bring a bigger spotlight onto it, and it's going to expose, and it's going to red pill a lot more people a lot easier than what was beforehand. Everybody knew that Eamon Ryan was a bit of a clown. Well, not a bit of a clown, a total clown in my view. But Rodri O'Gorman's on a different level here. You know, this is going to really expose things, so I hope he gets it. They'll probably see this video and go, whoops, probably shouldn't do that. Pippa Hackett has received 2 public endorsements from party colleagues already this morning. Odysee Smith has ruled himself out of the leadership race and endorsed Junior Minister Pippa Hackett. So there, he wants to be deputy leader there. So let's keep pressing on here now. Mr. Ryan, 60, announced he was stepping down as the leader of the party outside government buildings yesterday. It is time to pass the torch. Now, this is a guy that I don't think should be allowed to resign. I think he's a fella that should have been carted out in handcuffs if right was right. And I think a lot of members of the Dáil should be carted out in handcuffs, to be quite honest with you. If we had a particular rules of law and order that were actually being followed, these people would be arrested for what they've done, particularly over the last few years when it came to the sniffles. So what did he say? The long-serving Green TD cited family commitments, including caring for his son. There's a lot of people that talk about his brother. If you have a look into his brother there and what company he owns, a lot of people speak about state contracts and stuff like that with regards to him. Now, I don't know what that's about, but if a lot of people just say look into that, you know. He also has special needs. Sure. And also highlighted the vile statements on social media about his late father and the relentless attacks on social media as reasons for stepping down as leader. Now, what they are doing there, and by the way, just focusing on that word vile, they are attributing the word vile to anything that these people disagree with. That's exactly what they're doing. They're not quoting anything that people have said online. And when it comes to people being attacked, by the way, here's the thing. Eamon Ryan was one of the people that voted for your rights, civil liberties and freedoms to be taken away. He voted for the likes of your relatives to be alone in hospital. He voted for people not to have services resumed for them. These are the things that happened over the last few years when it came to the sniffles, when these people overplayed things and decided to do outrageous stuff. These are people that were happy to stop you from gathering with family and friends. And then they have the neck, they have the gall. And see, this is what I always say. Civility from the people ended the day that these people decided to sign that sort of stuff in. And you might think that I'm harkening back to this constantly, and I will forevermore as long as I draw breath, because these people and what they did was evil as far as I'm concerned. And these people should be remembered. Now, when they say vile statements, they don't mind about you or whatever happens to you. They couldn't give a fiddler's when it comes to you. And it's proven. When they're talking about relentless attacks on social media, hurty words were said to them on social media. So what? Literally, and I think this is actually what happens. I actually think that these people have handlers that are on social media that maintain the accounts. Now again, this is alleged, this is speculative. And so that these people would never see anything that's said to them. But I'd say what's been happening over the last couple of years is, I'd say people that are handlers have been met with plenty of comments and disagreements. And these people probably have gone back and said, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. And what they think is, they think we live in a world now that's so soft. This is a 60-year-old man, by the way, that's crying about comments that are made on social media. Meanwhile, at the same time then, is bringing in all sorts of measures that is making you lose money, which is your ability to feed yourself and your families. He's also then been part and parcel of taking your freedoms away. And he's also someone that is pushing an agenda that is completely and utterly false. So when these people want to say things like that, that's why the media first and foremost don't quote these things, and also then don't want to push back too much when it comes to these things, because they know people are out there and they know people have sniffed out what's going on. He insisted that the results of the recent local and European elections were not the reason for his departure, and said he made his mind up about quitting some months ago. Career lawyers, huh? Telling the truth now. Ah, well. His spokesperson later said he informed Green Party Deputy Leader Gettr Martin of his intentions to step down in the last few months. 4 years ago, Ms. Martin challenged Mr. Ryan's leadership weeks after he led the Green Party into the government for the first time in a decade with a record number of Dáil seats. Now, isn't that strange? So, bear with me if you can for a moment. That's like a manager getting into the Premier League from the Championship. And the Championship, he is a guy that might be a good manager, but what's happened is the second in command fancies themselves. So they've gotten themselves into the Premier League. The old manager that's there stays on. The second in command stays there. And then the first in command decides to leave. That's like the second in command then going, yeah, no thanks, this isn't for me anymore either. I'm not going to lead this. Why? Why is that? Is that because the scrutiny, and particularly the scrutiny on the Green Party, is at an all-time high right now? Is that because they're being met when they are speaking to people outdoors with difficult questions? Is that because Grit Media and others that are out there have made a holy show of them when it comes to them answering and then being asked questions? Is that why? I would say so, because what we've seen is we've seen a massive turn in the last couple of years, and indeed the mainstream media is starting to try and turn this way also, because they can see which way the wind is blowing and they're afraid. So this is what you're seeing here now. You're seeing fear, and I love when the fear is emanating from these people, because it should be. So I think, to be quite honest with you, this is phenomenal. I think the fact that Eamon Ryan is gone is a very large positive, because to be honest with you, when I'm looking at this party and I'm saying to myself, whoever voted, again, allegedly, speculatively, for Eamon Ryan, because again, I don't know anybody that's voted for these people at all, or anybody that actually finds them endearing or likeable or anything like that. But whoever voted for him now has a group of considerable goofy individuals to possibly vote for, and there's not a likeable character amongst them. You know, I will say one thing. The thing about Eamon Ryan was, he came across as a stooge. He came across as a Will Ferrell-esque type of character. You know, this kind of absolute clown that people thought, well, you know, he's a bit of a clown, but put him in there, how bad could things get? But I think what we've seen over the last while is, I think whilst he's a fool, now when I say a fool, people will disagree and say, well, Ninja, he's a guy that's gotten into politics and has been part and parcel of forming this regime. Why would you say that this guy is some sort of failure or a fool? Clearly he's not. Clearly he is obviously quite intelligent to do what he has done. And I hear that point, I understand that point. But what has happened is, there has been made a vacuum now of lack of characters within that party, and especially likeable characters. Because here's the thing, there's a lot of people that wrote online, and I did see people that thought that this guy was a decent and nice fella. They don't see the things that I see. They don't see the things that you see. They don't see the little, what shall I say, micro movements and things that they say, or words that they play on, or how they say it. They don't see things like we do. Sometimes people just see things as black and white, and they think that this guy was a decent nailed skin and he's just a bit of a head the ball, as some people might say. That's all they think. Whereas I think right now, this is a good thing for us, because what has been left with the party right now are demonstratively awful individuals. And I mean that. I mean that we have out of left field into this to try and rescue them. I think this party is in serious trouble, and I'm delighted to see that. I am very pleased to see this guy go. I am very pleased to also see Gettr Martin go, because that's another individual. And look, as I said at the outset, I do think that we are just seeing the replacement of pawns. But what really excites me, and this is the thing, this really excites me, and it should excite you, is that the replacement of the pawns couldn't get any better with what we are being given. We are being given some of the worst characters that we could be given, and it is going to be so easy in further elections. I'm very much so looking forward to it. What do you think of that? Let me know in the comments down below. Are you delighted to see Eamon Ryan go? Are you pleased to see someone else take the leadership of the Green Party? And also, do you know anybody? And let me know below whether you do or you don't. Do you know anybody that votes or has voted for the Green Party? Will you let me know down below? I'd really appreciate that. Another thing that really helps out the channel is when people like, share and subscribe to the channel. And I really appreciate when everyone does that. So I'll talk to you later. Good luck.